Friends, when Disney announced they'll be removing Monsters, Inc. from Disney California Adventure's backlot in early 2026, this brings up kind of a couple of huge questions that I don't know the answers to, you maybe don't know the answers to, but together, let's kind of break down this design mystery, and by all means, let me know in the comment below, what do you believe is happening? Bricky here, breaking down the bizarre gap from the closure of Monsters, Inc. to whatever and whenever something else is gonna land here in the Hollywood backlot. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoy breaking down Disney in the most specific and niche details. It's what I love doing, and I love even more when you show up and do it with me. Let's get into today's video. I'm so happy you showed up. Now, as I said, Disney stated that the attraction will be going down at the beginning of next year. But I don't think we have a firm idea on when the construction is going to begin. Maybe I missed something and they're going to just shut it down and go right into demo mode. But I seem to think there's going to be a gap. And that gap has me really puzzled on exactly what's happening here, because that would be uncharacteristically what Disney does on efficiency, especially in a park. Pause for greatness. That's already a little light on attractions. After all, that's why this park is getting 4 new major attractions added to it, a net positive of 3. Avatar, landing right where I'm at, that's the only new thing on the horizon that's actually replacing something else. All the other attractions are brand new to try to grow the demand of this park and take a little bit off of Disneyland's shoulders. Why this matters is, first off, let's break down the Hollywood backlot. It is by far the weakest section of this park. Good news is Disney's going to try to put something that's a way bigger draw here. But in the interim, Monsters, Inc. is the life force for this land. By taking it out, what will still happen back here? I mean, right now I can see people dining and kind of hanging out around me, but for sure, the main thing that is drawing them back here is Monsters, Inc. Once that's removed, did they just worsen the problem? And I know that it'll only be for a temporary stretch, but there's got to be something here that I'm not seeing, and that's why I'd love to get your feedback. Because what could the bigger plan possibly be to hurry up and shut down an attraction? And keep in mind that this is only one of 2 traditional Disney dark rides that exist in this park. Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sulley to the rescue, removing that is really taking out something severe for a lot of families that rely on this as one of the attractions that their kids enjoy the most. So let's break down what it is that we know, and then we'll do a little group speculation on what do those pieces of the puzzle tell us it's going to happen. And you know what I do over on my main channel, Hey Bricky, I studied Disneyland's past to better predict its future. I don't know that we have a comparable for this one, because most of the time they wait till the absolute last second to pull the plug on an attraction, and when they pull the plug on the attraction, not too long thereafter, the walls go up and the land starts to get reshaped. Don't know that's exactly what's happening this time, which has me puzzled. All right, so what we do know, as I've stated, that Monsters, Inc. is going to close down at the beginning of 2026. But what we don't know is when the construction is going to happen here. We have no firm date on that. We just know early 26. And don't worry, they'll give you a heads up. They always like to make sure that fans have a last chance to ride. So you'll know way ahead of time when that's happening. Now, another hard fact that we have is that Avatar is going to be showing up exactly where I'm standing. But by no means do we have any projected date whatsoever on when that's going to happen. And the way I see it, a couple of other things need to happen before this can happen, which that's why I'm really puzzled. You see, the Eastern Gateway Transit Hub and parking structure is supposed to kick off at some point. I love that. It is supposed to kick off at some point in the not too far away future. We're probably looking at sometime in 2026. I know the first permits have been filed, but there's normally a delay, and the first permits that were filed were basically just to put up the fencing to declare the outer perimeter of what the construction zone will be. So this is where I see our first major timing gap, because the idea, as I understand it, for Avatar is they need to expand this park over to where the buses currently drop and pick people up. They need more room to do a Pandora on the West Coast. But you can't really do any of that stuff until the parking garage is done. Unless they're gonna do something crazy and take people from the Toy Story parking lot over to Pixar Place, the Disneyland Hotel, or somewhere over by Mickey and Friends, and then route everyone in from the western side. That sounds like a logistical nightmare. I mean, historically, parking garage happens first, and then the expansion. We saw Mickey and Friends show up, then DCA. We saw Pixar Pals and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Avengers Campus. That needs to happen so that we get Avatar. So one would think that the next 2 to 3 years, because it takes about 2 to 3 years to make a massive Disney parking structure, maybe even longer for one that's going to be taking over the bus pickup and also needs to create a skyway bridge that goes over the very busy Harbor Boulevard. Based on past history with how long it takes to build a parking garage, we could be looking at a 2 to 3 year gap before this happens. So parking garage wraps up 28, 29. Avatar gets started at around 28, 29, shows up around 32. Like, that seems like a sensible timeline. If that sensible timeline is accurate, that's 6 years without an attraction here. If I'm off by half, that's 3 years without an attraction here. Could this land, or at least where Monsters Inc. is, could that end up becoming a staging area, like a flexible facility where they do on-site preparation for everything that's coming next? Like, are they going to demo it right after they close it? And are they going to make this a area to where they can easily have an on-site spot to navigate the parking garage coming in, the buses going out, putting in new security, new ticket gates, the Skyway Bridge? Like, is this just going to end up becoming an on-premises staging ground? Because if you think about it, they know at some point it's going to go down to dirt. So why not do it now and have a spot conveniently located in the middle of everything? And then when all that's built, you've already taken it down to the dirt. And then you can just start building what comes next. And if that is the case, smart play, get it, understand it. But that does play along with the idea of 6 years without an attraction here. It also plays into the idea of 6 years or less with DCA missing something for the family to ride. Or do they see Coco as a swap out for Monsters Inc., and then they see Avatar as a e-ticket upscale for the older, more mature audiences? Is that the play? Possibly it is, just to create breathing room for infrastructure, which that poses another question. Are we having our final Oogie Boogie Bash in the Hollywood Backlot? Are we having our final Festival of Holidays in the Backlot? Are they just closing the ride? Or are they closing everything? Because closing everything means losing a handful of different places that make money. One shop, one bar, one food truck, and 2 restaurants. That would be the scale of what they're pulling the plug on. That's more revenue than they probably want to say goodbye to. There is a fan theory that I hadn't considered, and that is that Disney is being cheap. And maybe nothing major is going to happen here, and possibly it's more about recycling something instead of rebuilding something. But there is one thing that I can guarantee you. Starting at some point in 2026 is going to create a journey to where entering the park from its eastern edge is going to be very bizarre. We will see entry points pop up, entry points move. There's going to be a lot of fandangling and moving people around, lots of temporary solutions to make a long-term resolution. We saw all of this happen over on the western side when they were working on that. So get ready for every time you come to the park to be different than the last. But the one thing I have a hard time believing logistically is that they're going to be doing both at once. I have a very hard time understanding how Disney could possibly be removing the back of DCA, building a world-class attraction and land, as well as doing a parking garage and rerouting guests. Like, I don't think that it's possible to do it all at once. But I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. Maybe Disney's ready to spend that money. But in a time of tariffs, limited supplies, and workers, that might be a stretch to get it all done at once, especially with Avengers Campus and Coco happening on the other side of DCA. That's a lot of workforce and a lot of things managing all at once in a very weird time in construction. Those are just the obstacles we're facing right now. Nobody knows what the future will hold. So what if they pull the plug on this, take it out, and then something happens where Avatar has to get delayed, or they get into a hang-up with the city of Anaheim on going over Harbor Boulevard. Like, there's a lot at risk to just pull the plug prematurely because you can't easily bring it back. The only thing that comes back from the dead time and time again at Disneyland is Earl of Sandwich. This is not Earl's. And here is another marketing concern. Once you close something and people know something new is coming, there are families that will literally go, you know what, let's book that trip when the new Avatar thing is done. If the new Avatar thing isn't going to be done for 6 years, you've lost that guest for quite some time. So making a lot of bold decisions based on where everything's at today definitely opens up some major curiosity loops for the future of, will this plan all work out? I mean, don't forget, Galaxy's Edge opened up for about 6 months, and Rise of the Resistance was open for 1 month, when all of that had to go down for 440 days, forcing Disneyland to take the old abandoned Rainforest Cafe, turn it into a Star Wars trading post, just to have a place to liquidate some of the merchandise that was showing up by the boatload, because they were expecting thousands of people ripping Batuu every single day. That didn't happen, but possibly because Disney knows better than anybody how much this is going to interfere with guests entering and exiting the park. Maybe there's a better play to get ahead of it early, do what they need to do, and set up that temporary path right away, so that's established for the long term of the entire project. Let's try to think about this logically. What if this is the plan? What if where Monsters Inc. is, this building right here, and obviously this building would have to go to the old Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or the Avengers Walmart, that would have to go. Just basically what's on the north side of the monorail. What if this is the path that for the next handful of years, you and I enter the park on the eastern side? Monsters has to go so that we have a way to show up and go back home, leaving the entire bus area, all of that transit hub out there, as a dead stop, that they can bulldoze all of that and be working on that while they're working on the parking garage, doing 2 projects at once, building the bridge that connects them, and then when guests are able to use that spot, this bad boy right here, this temporary trail goes away, and this starts to become Avatar. Maybe this is the missing piece of the puzzle to get guests from location A to Chimpanzee. That is one of my favorite Simpsons references of all time. So when we look at it through that lens, suddenly this starts to sound like a worthy sacrifice and something that makes a lot more sense than the first time that you heard this plan. I do get accused of giving Disney sometimes too much credit. And there's a fan theory that the main reason why this is coming down is so they can strip it of its animatronics and some of its show sets, load that up, send it out to Disney Hollywood Studios, where, as you know, they're currently working on a Monstropolis that will replace the area that the Muppets used to have in the back corner of Disney's Hollywood Studios. Back could be at play, and that would be very sad for the state of DCA and the state of Disney if they're just going to shut it down because they don't want to make some aging animatronics that already were from a different ride 20 years ago. If I had to pick one of these theories, I would go with this is the future, this is the path that we're going to be taking for quite some time. And I guess I would also predict that, as sad as it may be, the rest of the backlot will try to fend for itself and stay open for a handful more of years. And if that is the case, I would also say don't assume that what gets taken out is all that they're going to give to Avatar. At some moment, all of this will have to go away to create a true Pandora experience. So whatever we see will give us another piece of the puzzle for the future, but it won't give us an indication of the wide breadth of everything that's happening. So pieces of the puzzle that the community should be on the outlook for. When does Disney publish that final closure date for Monsters, Inc.? And does anything else get announced to go down with it? That will probably give us a bigger indication on what's happening. When they shut it down, if they don't do anything, if they don't demo this, if we don't see them doing any sort of removal, then yes, it is just to harvest the organs from Monsters, Inc. And that's what the purpose was for. However, if we see the building go down, then the idea of either staging zone or temporary permanent path for entry and exit over the next handful of years has validity. When it does go down, do they do anything special back here, or do they just let it fend for itself? And something that's already on life support really feels like we just go, just pull the plug. Let's just get the suffering over with. And when all of this happens, do we get any new concept artwork? Do we get another clue on what the future is going to look like, or is it just pull the plug, pull down the curtains, and just pretend like it was never here? That part has me curious. I always love getting that new crystal ball into the future. So on many levels, this does feel risky, but we don't know what the strategy is for the risk just yet. Just recently shut down Mickey's PhilharMagic as the plan is to redo... Hi! This very nice young kid came up to me and he goes, "Are you Fricky?" And I go, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Are you Fricky?" And I go, "I'm Bricky." And he goes, "Oh, my mom's a huge fan. Can you come say hi to her?" So I went and met this lovely family from Ohio, and apparently the new channel is going to be called Hey Fricky. But as I was saying, they have just put a decent amount of money and technology into PhilharMagic to refresh it, to make sure it could go the distance. I do feel like at some point it could end up becoming a preview center or maybe an extension of all of this, but they haven't given up on all of this. It'll be interesting to see when January comes around when and how much of the Hollywood backlot goes away, and then we'll know a little bit more about what the next piece of the puzzle is. And friends, I'm excited to document it and cover it all and bring you with me every step along the way. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Leave your theories below. I'm Hey Fricky, and I appreciate you.